Yo, what's up guys? Today I'm gonna show to you how I prepare for league races on F1 25. I've been league racing for a long time now. I drive in PSGL, PS, F2, so I'm gonna go through all the things you have to do to prepare for the league races. I'm gonna go through setup, strategy, what to focus on, what to do when you don't have a lot of time and when you do have a lot of time. So we are in the F1 game right now. Let's first assume that we have all the time in the world, which we never do. The good thing is you take the practice onto the next time you race at the certain track. There are different ways to practice. There are different things you can do that can help you get faster. So the very first thing is the track. If you want to learn the track, you want to try to get faster on the track, I go into time trial. I go and take the world record setup, the most recent world record setup, and I do some laps. It is not important to do the fastest lap possible. It's just important to know which lines you should take, where you should be fast, just raw pace, so you know exactly how you need to take the track and what is fast and what isn't fast. So if you have got the raw pace down, then we want to go into Grand Prix mode. At the end, I will say what you should do if you only have 30 minutes to practice. The first thing we want to find out is the setup. We want to be comfortable on the setup. You take the car that you drive in the race, and you of course are gonna change the format to what your league race is. I always like to start with race. The reason for that is if you have the short amount of time, you want to end with quali because you start with quali. So you have just on quali, you are fresh and you are ready for quali. So I like to start with the race practice. I'll do a one shot to make sure that I'm in front of the AI. I'll put the weather to clear. I actually never practice rain. I've not even had rain races this year. So to practice it, yeah, it seems a bit excessive, just not necessary. Of course, you want to simulate the same rules. We first just want to get into the setup. So we're going to turn off the safety car, turn off the formation lap, turn everything off. I do like to use the damage the same way that it works in the actual race. So for the very first thing, we just want to get a lap in that is ahead of the AI. So we are in first. Make sure the AI is not gonna be close enough to you in the race. I like to have 110 as I can also have a little bit of a reference to how fast I need to go. But usually 110 AI is also a little bit too slow. As you can see, we're in first place. We have the strategy, we are right here. We want to simulate the first medium stint. Usually the strategy is a medium hard on this game. So we want to simulate the medium stint. And that's pretty much the only thing we're gonna first focus on. In terms of fuel, if you have the time to do a whole race, then you can start with the exact amount of laps on fuel, and you have to pay attention in the last lap how low your fuel is, what it says. That's how much fuel you should take. Then for strategy, if you want to find out the best strategy that works, the best way for me that usually is looking at other league races. So if you look at the last PSGL league race, you see what they are doing, what kind of strategies they are doing, other league races. Just see what their strategy is, and then you can see what is gonna be the fastest strategy, see which strategy won, and then you know which strategy you should take. That being said, we want to get a setup in. How do you get a setup? There are different ways. I get my setups from my esports team, but not everyone has that luxury. Of course, if you are able to join a team, this will always help, getting setups from them and talking with people about strategies and stuff like that. You can buy setups and you will know that they are good, probably, depending where you get them, but you can also get a lot of setups for free everywhere. You just have to look at the right places. Now, I used to get my setups from Jarno Opmeer's setup chat in Discord. He's got a specific channel on Discord. You can also try and find live streams from people that league race and find setups. Then it is of course handy to learn about setups, to tweak them, to make them comfortable. So you just want to do the first couple of laps, or actually the first stint ideally. It is important that you are not fighting with the AI, that you have clear air. So either you wait for them to leave, or you have one lap where you use a lot of battery, because it's also important to use the same amount of battery every lap, of course, so you can actually see the right time. So now you are in the lap, you can also try and figure out the ERS strat, how much ERS you are regaining throughout the lap. Try and simulate the racing like you would race in the actual race. So it's just handy to have an ERS thread, know how much ERS you can use without losing ERS throughout the race. But in terms of setup, you want to do some laps, see how the setup feels, tweak stuff, or try a different setup if it doesn't feel nice. At some point have the setup down. Now if this takes long, this is not that bad, because even with a different setup you're still practicing the race. Even when you're changing the setup and you're doing the medium stint over and over again, you're practicing the medium stint and you will also get faster. So this is basically the first thing that I do for practice, is the race setup down. And once I have the race setup down, it's time to go into qualifying, because of course qualifying is very important, especially on this game, when overtaking is not the easiest thing. Of course, it depends on the people that you race with and the skill level, how much effort you need to put in qualifying, because if everyone's like slow in the race and you can gain the positions in the race, then it's not that important. But if you are in the DRS train, then qualifying is really important. So how do we learn qualifying? Of course, you want to have the setup. If you have Park Vermeer off, you can change the whole setup, and you want to have a more aggressive setup. If you have Park Vermeer on, you can still change some things in the setup to make the car more aggressive for a short qualifying. Again, we're going to go into a clear short qualifying, and what I like to do is I like to skip on to 8 minutes or something. The AI won't be in your way, and then just always try at 8 minutes. Of course, if you have the setup down, you don't need to do this. But if you don't have the setup down, you want to simulate the most. You want to have the exact same. So also the conditions. And then we're going to go to 8 minute mark. 6 minute mark also works. It's just so there's no AI. You can also finish the lap without the timer running out. Don't skip the outlap, because the outlap is also very important. You want to get the tires in the right window. And the right window is usually about 74 degrees. Don't want to get them too hot. And a little tip that I have for you is putting the brake bias on 70. If you have the brake bias on 70, you can also see that the fuel here is 2.5, which means that we're going to run out in the last lap, in the in lap, after the lap. So we're just going to put it on lean for this lap, for this first part of the lap. Gonna put it to 70, and then we're gonna hold the brakes for the entirety of the outlap. What this will do is this will try and balance the offset between the fronts and the rears. You will not get a overheating rears for the outlap, and a massive like degree gap. As you can see, there's 73 on the rears and then 71 on the fronts. Now there's still AI, unfortunately, but as you can see, a lot less AI around this time. Stupid AI does not know how to move or how to act. We're just gonna hold the brakes and do some turning, and then before we go to the end, we're gonna go into my brake bias, gonna go to this, and then we're gonna press start here, because we wanna go into mid-session save and then save the session. All right. I don't know if everyone knows about this, but you can mid-session save, you can go back after the lap, and we go back to exactly this point, so we can then start the lap again. Now the first thing before we go into this lap, I am gonna go into this lap, but before we go into this lap is, as you can see, the ERS. The ERS strategy is very important in this game. Where you can get the ERSs on YouTube, you can see we go into none, and we're gonna try and do a decent lap while I'm talking, but you can find an ERS strategy on YouTube. Try and find hot laps where you can see the ERS strategy. Is van Pookie has a lot of them online, which is quite nice. But we can just do quali here. And let's say the setup now would not be nice. We can just restart the session, change the setup, and go into 8 minutes again. Of course, there's different ways to do it, but this is just how you have exactly the same. So I like to do it. Not too bad. Not too bad. For talking, we're talking. The good thing is you now have seen the lap. You can go into Race Director and see, it was invalid, and see the sector times, of course. So you know the sector times, if you know a fast lap, a lap time that you're aiming for, you can compare these times, you can see where you lose time. You can go into mid-session save, load again, and we can go again for another quali run with the exact same tire temperatures. So here you can go again, and we can do quali. Okay, now you have the setup basically down. If you have more time, you want to, of course, ideally you do a whole race stint. So you can actually see the actual percentages. You can actually find out the fuel for yourself. Because everyone has different fuel levels that they use. If you are in DRS or not in DRS, it's a big difference. So ideally you practice the race together with people in an online session. That is of course the best thing to do. You can practice and just do the laps over and over, find out where you're losing time, see where, and just do the laps, put it in time, you know. And what I also like to do is start from the back against the AI. If I do a race stint and I already have my setup completely down, I will also practice in dirty air, because if you are racing in dirty air, such a difference. Ideally, you can do it online too, with actual people. That's always way better. But yeah, not everyone has that fortune, and you have to find someone that is the same pace as you, of course. Now, let's say you don't have a lot of time. Let's say, like yesterday in my league race, I did not have any time. So I had 40 minutes for a league race practice, or 30 minutes, and that is perfect time for warm-up. The first thing I do is I go into the race. First thing is in the race, not qualifying. And I just make sure that the setup that I used a long time ago, that I still have, works and feels all right. Now, don't change too much. Just use this setup and accept it. If you had more time, you could have done more for the setup, but this is just what you're gonna have to do it. I just do about 2-3 laps, make sure that I'm comfortable with the setup, that it's a nice setup, and then it's all right. If you've done that, little 10 minutes after that, you can do a qualifying session, get in here, just like I just showed you, and you can do a mid-session save, and you can actually do quite a lot of runs before your race starts. Then you have to practice right before your race. All right, so that's basically how I prepare for my league races on F1 25. Perhaps it changes in the future and I can make a new video. If I forgot about something, go ahead and ask in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you learned something, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.